But I had to build special roof, you know, to get the insulation in. If I could really cost it properly, I'd be smarter to go with 80 than 100. But again, based on just the cost of insulation, it peaks out at 100. But I think there's other costs that you want to get in. The windows, you know, quickly, you know, to go, this is about an R8 window. To get a window in from Germany to get to R10, just, you know, when the rest of the walls are R60, the difference between R8 and 10 on the windows is not making that much difference, but you've got to do the best you can there. So some of them are obvious and some of them aren't. The really interesting ones are the lights, like things like the fridge. You know, we spent an extra $800 on this fridge, and we'll save about 400 or 500 kilowatt hours a year. It's a very low energy fridge. So that's, you know, a big saving. Water is incredible. Hot water reduction not only saves you water, but it saves the cost of heating the water. So something like this, or if you put a shower head that uses 5.6 liters per minute instead of 10.6, and you got 3 daughters and a son that are showering for half an hour a day each, huge savings, right? Huge savings that you can see right away in the calculations.
What are you actually planning to do in the way of hot water heating in this house? Is it strictly solar?
No, it's electric. There's electric.
So you're preheating
with solar.
Oh, you're preheating with solar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the electric, of course, can come from the PV, right? So, you know, just to give you the basics on the house. So there's space heat. The house uses energy in 3 places. So space heating, heating hot water, and then your lights and appliances. We call it lane. Lights, appliances, mechanical. Domestic hot water is DHW, and space heating is SH. Space heating cooling, but we just shortened it to SH. So in each of those you have usage. So if I had built this house to standard code, it would be 23,000 kilowatt hours. You would measure it that way, but kilowatt hours of energy for space heating, 9 for hot water, and 8 for if I had to put regular appliances in. So you look at each one and you say, okay, how can I reduce my energy use? So 23,000 for space heating. So by using passive solar, so the sun's shining in, all this insulation, all the vapor barriers, all the attic insulation, the good windows, the insulating in the basement and everything, we're getting it down to less than 3,000 a year. So from 23 to 3, 85% savings, right? So huge savings there. And that's the envelope stuff that's there for 50 years, right? That's the beauty on that one. On the domestic hot water, well, how can you reduce your hot water? Well, you start by less shower heads, you know, more restricted shower heads, dishwasher that uses less water, clothes washer that uses cold water instead of hot water, you know, things like that. We're going to get our hot water down to about half of the normal cost, and then this thing will suck about 40% of the hot water energy that's going down the drain already. We'll get that back too. So you know, we got a big saving there. We're down pretty good on water. The appliances, the big saving is in the light bulbs. So each of these are, well, that one's a 3 watt actually. Some of these are 10 and 12. We're just trying different bulbs just to see how people like them. But,
which one's the Walmart one?
which one's what?
Which one's the cheap Walmart one?
One behind you.
Oh, okay.
That one was 13. These are all 50, 52 or something. This one's 60 over here. We're just trying different ones to see how people, we're letting you make your own decision. But the point is, we're going from, you know, if you have 15 or 20 bulbs burning, the difference is huge on the electrical requirements and something that's very easy to do. Especially the outside lights, which in our case are pretty much accent lighting. You know, I don't know if you noticed when you drove in, the 2 lights on the outside are 60 watt incandescents, and the 2 lights in the middle are 11 watt LEDs. So when you drive out, just take a look back at the sign and you can see the difference. There's not much there. You know, there's not much of a difference for a huge energy saving. Those things are on all night. So we just tried. They told us they didn't think the lighting was good enough for the LEDs outside because those people are sponsors that paid for us to be here tonight, so they wanted to make sure the sign was sticking out. So I just changed 2, but you decide on your way out if you think I should be paying 6 times as much for the energy on the outside 2 as I'm paying for the inside 2, and let me know what you would do. But I think the other 2 are going tomorrow if I have money. So You know, it's a pretty easy decision. So the lighting, you know, so that's saving. So in each area, you try to reduce the energy you use first by cutting back. Then you try to reuse some energy. So this is really reusing energy, right? We're reusing energy here. Okay, another way we're reusing energy, we've got a heat recovery ventilator. So the hot air going out of the house, we take the energy out of it and reheat the cool air coming into the house. So we're reusing energy that way.
Curiosity question on that. I'm not sure if you know it, but somebody was telling me the other day that a good way to do the piping for the air-to-air heat exchangers to bury it in the ground.
Yeah, let me get back to that. Okay, don't let me forget. Let me finish this story and I'll get back to it.
Yep.
So, on space heating, we've done a bunch to reduce the energy, including reduction and reusing with the heat recovery ventilator. On hot water, we've reduced the amount of hot water we're using, and we're doing some recovery with this. On electricity, we've reduced pretty much as we can by lighting, using more efficient appliances. So the last bit, so we're now, in this house, we're down to 10,000. We need 10,000 watts, so we've gone from 40 to 10 overall, which is amazing. That's without all this fancy technology. Then we go, what are our options for heat? So we could use geothermal, wood-burning stove, windmills, you know, all these different options, right? The ones we chose are solar-based, and we've got three kinds of solar energy capture here. So Brent installed flat panel solar thermal, and they're producing 4,000 to 5,000, we think, equivalent kilowatt hours a year of energy.
For all three?
Yeah, okay. But I can't use that energy for my TV or my fridge, right? I can use solar hot water to heat the house, and clearly to heat hot water, but I can't use it for this. Also, it's hard to store that hot water. So, you know, now is the time when I need the energy. It's winter time. Well, I can't store it from the heat I generated in the summer, right? I can't save that. Okay. Photovoltaic, the last kind of energy we're using, and that's the panels at the top, create electricity. Now, electricity is a beautiful thing for a number of reasons. First of all, I can store it. So Sask Energy, with their net metering system, if I produce extra energy, and today for a while we're actually creating more energy. The middle of the day when the sun was shining, we're even in the middle of winter, we're creating more energy than we were using today. We're giving it back to Sask Power. So that's basically giving, it's like a big battery for me, right? So I give it back to them, and then on a cold day when I need it, I can just take it back, and there's no penalty. And there's no, I don't need the battery, so I can use that energy at any time. And net zero actually means at the end of the year that levels off. So it's a beautiful thing. The other thing about electricity is I can use it for anything. I can use it for my this. I can use it to heat the house. We've got electric heaters, baseboard heaters around the house. I can use it to heat hot water. So in every case, I'm using it as my last resort. So if my water isn't quite hot enough, I'll heat it with electricity. So Brent's solar panels, even on a cold day, we're getting up to 85 degrees centigrade. The other day, right? You said that? Yeah. So that would heat my water up to here. If I want it to be 90, I'll just heat that last little bit with electricity. My most expensive, but very friendly energy source that I'm getting from the sun. Okay? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So we're getting about 5,000 from Brent's solar panels. We're getting about 5,000 from, I'll say Brent's, they're not quite Brent's, they're mostly Brent's, but Brent's photovoltaic. Okay, so I'm getting, that's the 10,000 I'm getting, about an equal split between the two. We've also got, you might have noticed those evacuated tube panels on the front of the deck. That's just to really to solve an argument between Brent and Bill about which one works better. We'll have them both there and we'll be able to tell. So Bill's already crying wolf because if somebody parks in front, the shadows of them. So we'll see what happens, but I think we'll...
I was complaining because his panels were shading mine.
Well, he was complaining that people park in front, they're shading his, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, the point is, one's redundant. So we're using the heat from the evacuated tube panels basically to heat the crawl space, which is very hard to heat. It's on bare ground, there's no insulation, so we're basically heating the whole acre here, right? So it's a good way to heat the house.
What happens, just out of curiosity, how do you shed all the excess heat in the summer?
Very good question. So we've got a, do you want to explain that actually? You probably do it better. So,
yeah. So for the evacuated tubes, They put a radiator somewhere, like